on Nova Legends podcast, I have the Cosby soccer state champions who just recently beat McLean on a golden goal by Deniss Hayes, who's joining us today. A great team, unbelievable game. They beat two of our top teams I've seen in the last few years, Herndon and McLean, teams that have been in the state tournament the last 3 years. I'm going to introduce you guys quickly. Ryan Londeree is a midfielder. He's going to VCU next year. He was voted Gatorade Player of the Year, also the Class 6 Player of the Year. Great week for you. Also winning state championship, not too bad either. I got Deniss Hayes. Deniss made a lot of people unhappy with that direct kick, which we're going to talk about, because McLean folks, they didn't have time to set their wall up, and I'm sure you guys really care about that at this point. We also have Deniss is going to VCU as well. We also have Nikita Hayes. Nikita did a great job on Joe Margita. Joe's a Villanova commit, and really did a good job locking him down on the left back position there. Nikita, like his twin brother, is also going to VCU. And also Evan Gaines. Evan was the first opening goal scorer on a nice header, beautiful pass as well. Evan plays holding mid for Cosby. He's going to Mount St. Mary's with the guy that goes to my high school, who I love as a player a lot, Christian Rodriguez, who went to Robinson. Guys, congratulations. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Sure. So a few years ago, I had him on Andres Rodriguez, who's a tremendous midfielder, who's at VCU, joining three of you guys. And he had just beaten Yorktown in the state final. And I guess he had just beaten you guys in the semifinals your freshman year. I don't know if you guys were playing yet. But I asked him on the interview, how did it rank in terms of his achievements in soccer? I mean, they had to drag him out there. He didn't want to play high school soccer. He was just kind of chilling. And I don't even think he was playing much club at the time, but he really did not want to play high school. He went out there and he said winning the state championship was the biggest thing he ever did in soccer. And it surprised him, because he really didn't want to do it. How about you guys? In terms of all the achievements you guys have made in soccer, which are a lot, obviously, where does winning the state championship rank for you guys in terms of all your achievements?
I would honestly say it's a #1 achievement, only because I only played high school soccer for 2 years, and going out there and only losing one game my whole high school career and everything. So that made it feel like even special. And then with people coming into the program and everything, and just a good group of guys winning it all with them, felt like best ever.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of crowd support, because I guess you guys are probably nearby, near Mills Godwin.
Yeah.
Who else wants to go? I know Nikita.
I would say the same thing. It was my first year at Cosby, so winning it this year was really nice.
Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah. So both you guys, this is your first year at?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And where were you guys going before?
I went to a private school, Banner Christian School.
Okay. So why did you decide to transfer?
Because anytime we play any school with my private school, get double teamed, then we weren't gonna win states with them. So I talked to a couple guys from Cosby, and we had a really good team. So I thought I could join and help the team out.
Yeah. Was it far away from where you live, or Cosby?
No, it was very close.
Okay, great. How about you, Evan? Where's the rank for you?
I think mine's probably the opposite. So I've been playing for Cosby for 4 years, and I was there when we lost to Hilton, like my freshman year. So I think it's definitely #1. I mean, every year has been ended in disappointment, and then to finally win states is awesome.
Yeah, it really is awesome. And you guys, a lot of really top players, and I think Deniss just kind of hinted at this. When you're playing high school, the levels that high, even in practice, sometimes the games can be a little bit frustrating, because you can't do what you need to do. But when you have 4 Division I players, and you have other guys on the team, I count at least 7, 8 others that could probably play Division III if they're not, and they might be underclassmen. So I guess it's probably more fun when you're playing with guys, on your level. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what about Richmond in general? Up here we have MLS Next, and they don't allow the players to play high school, but they all play. They just, a lot of times they come up to me, hey, Mr. Brown, you can't post that photo of me on your Instagram. So a lot of them are playing. A lot of them don't play the postseason. A lot of them don't play after they signed, or maybe their senior year. But almost all of them eventually go out there and play with their high school. What about in Richmond? What's the landscape there? Are most of the top players playing high school?
So I played Richmond United for 7 years, and they never allowed us to play for our school. And then I played last year while still being on Richmond United. And then this past year, I just played Richmond Kickers, and they allowed me to play high school. And I wanted to play high school. After I realized one season with that, I was like, yeah, I just want to do this again because there was such a great bond with everyone. So with me, especially being able to play high school my last year, actually allowed to, felt very good.
So did last year you kind of played on the sneak tip? I mean, you weren't really supposed to be out there. You were just playing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they would have allowed you to play. They didn't kick you off. They would have let you come back and played your senior year there, but you just decided you didn't want that tension anymore.
Yeah. I don't want that tension anymore. I just wanted to play.
Yeah. How about the rest of you guys? Did you guys, generally, what do you guys see? Are most of the top players like yourself playing high school, or is Richmond United, is the pressure they putting on? Is Richmond United MLS next?
No.
You know.
But they still, okay. So it's not like a league rule. It's just a club rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say a lot of guys that like playing high school, they will switch teams so they can play high school. That's what a lot like Ryan did because he wanted to play for Cosby. So a lot of good guys do that. And then the Richmond United, of course, isn't like that.
Right. So when you play for kickers or strikers, are they much lower level than United, or can Richmond kickers and strikers compete with United on the same?
It depends on the team.
Mhm.
Like our team last year could definitely compete with the RU kids,
Right.
but they were just not as strict as RU. So that's why I like him personally as the team.
Right. How about you, Evan? You have any opinion on this one?
Yeah, I played at Strikers this last year, and I mean, RU is where a lot of the better players play, but their kickers team can definitely, I mean, on a given day they can compete with RU. It's kind of just unfortunate that they don't let players play, but
yeah, I think it's
some
terrible.
players do it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that if you're you only go to high school once, you should be able to do it, and clubs should help you do it. And I mean, there are some players, if you're playing on an international team or something, we have Griffin Yao up here playing up here. It's kind of hard for him to play on, for his high school, but most like Cooper Noseworthy, who's at Madison, or Andres, or most of the top players end up playing a little bit. And even if they're discouraged, all it does is, it makes it a little bit more uncomfortable. Is there a big rivalry between kickers and strikers and United? Is that a pretty tense rivalry?
Not really. I would say 5 years ago, Richmond kickers and strikers would always compete, but strikers kind of are falling down now. So, but I would say it's more like RU and other teams than kickers and strikers.
Yeah. So when I was asked, so after the game against Herndon, I'm pals with Joe Morgata. He messaged me and says, what'd you think? Did we take him? What kind of game was it? And my son, who came down Saturday, also, I was talking to him about it. So they asked me to describe you guys. And I said, well, they're a typical Richmond team. They're fast, technical, and they talk a lot of trash. Because I remember when my son played Richmond, every team we played for Richmond always talk a lot of trash on the field, which is, we don't have as much of that up here. I mean, the game is physical up here. Like Herndon and McLean are both physical teams. But they don't really, I guess McLean does talk. But is that fair, to describe Richmond players? You guys do a lot of talking on the pitch?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just part of the game to get in their head. After the game, it's all off. So,
yeah. I did notice that all the trash talking that was going on, and then one of the players cramped, and one of your teammates was trying to help him with that. That was a nice touch. And then I thought after the Herndon game, they were devastated because it was the end of a generation. Those guys have been playing for 4 years together, and you guys went over and were very gracious, I thought. So I did notice those touches as well. But you guys talk a lot of trash, and because you may have noticed I was sitting on the sidelines taking photos, so I was right there in the middle of it. It was funny, and as a Yorktown parent, we like when people talk trash to McLean, even though I like those McLean kids a lot.
yeah.
So it's a cultural thing, and it's not just Cosby soccer, or it's one of those things that most of the teams around Richmond do that. Yeah, that's funny. I've always noticed that, and my son said the same thing. Even like futsal, you guys would talk trash. You come down and like, geez, this is futsal. We're supposed, this is off season stuff. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the high school scene. Now, in Fairfax County, Alexandria, Arlington, all the teams play the same classification. So, like Herndon, McLean, my son went to Yorktown. They're all Class 6. But in Richmond, it's a little annoying because you'll have top teams Class 5. I mean, you can have a school a mile away. It seems like it's Class 5. You have Class 4 teams that are good as well. Does that kind of hurt the rivalries that the schools are kind of divided between different classifications?
Yeah. It's kind of like annoying to say like that we don't have much competition during our regular season because we have to play all the Chesterfield County teams because it's just like the district that we have to play and everything. So when we get into regional semis against like a beach team or say like a team somewhere else that we haven't played yet, it's a lot more difficult than what we've had like all season.
Yeah. And did you play some of the tougher teams non-district early in the season or mostly?
No. I mean, we scrimmaged deep run in our preseason game, but like they didn't play any of their starters because they just wanted to watch how we play. So it was kind of like a waste of a game.
God, they're really being tactical.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you guys? You guys feel like it's a little bit disjointed because you have different quality teams and different classifications?
I think it would be better if we played smaller schools with like the same level because it would just be better for the team. But I get it why they're doing it, but I just think it would be better for our school if we play like deep run and other schools that are really good before states or regionals.
Yeah, we're very lucky because like the McLean team that you guys played against, they probably were down in like 9 games this year. And Hernan probably trailed in almost half that. I mean, so those teams are used to playing tough teams every game. And then obviously, there's so many travel programs in Northern Virginia. So every team has got players. It just depends on, whether they have a real coach and whether or not, all the players come out for the games. Do you guys, I was just, kind of stereotyping the Richmond player. Do you guys have a way of looking at Northern Virginia players? Do we have a certain distinct way, or even like the beach players that you guys play against? You probably see those guys a lot. Do you guys see different styles in different parts of the state?
I would say Northern Virginia is just a lot physical. It's like a big physical battle with them. And then perhaps let's say Landstown. I mean, we think we're trash talkers. Those kids talk so much trash.
Yeah, it's something we don't do up here. I mean, we're very physical. And the McLean kids, they were talking a lot to you guys too, because you guys got them kind of revved up. And you guys, it was funny. There was a moment where there was these kids behind me that were talking to one of the center backs, Titus, I'm freezing his last name. And Titus's mother was right behind him and said, "Hey, quit talking to my son." And the guys back down. They're like, "Well, we'll talk trash to your son. We're not gonna mess with the mom." That was a very good moment. But how about the rest of you guys? You guys see different styles around different parts?
Yeah, I would say physical more. I think more bigger guys are up in Northern Virginia too, but there's really a difference.
Yeah, Landstown had a lot of big guys, so it was definitely harder. But at the end, it's just the team and how we play.
Right. Well, let's talk about your coach a little bit. Now, Mike Anderson, he went to Garfield up here, and he hit a game-winning shot. This is before they had a state tournament in soccer. Northern Virginia played soccer years ago, but the rest of the state was a little bit slower. I was class of '84 at Robinson, and my sister won regional twice, but there was no state. And it wasn't until like mid '80s, late '80s, where all 4 areas of the state, major areas of the state, started to have soccer programs. But anyway, Coach Anderson won a game with a direct kick. He won the regional title with the direct kick, just like Dennis's. It was like an 18-foot curler, and it's a legendary play up here. So I had known about that. Actually, I was informed about that before the game. But anyway, what's Coach Anderson like? I did contact him for an interview. He never got back to me. I figured I'd talk to his players. But what's he like to play for? And what kind of coach is he?
I mean, Anderson's great. I think he knows a lot tactically, but he's also just a really good motivator. Like his pregame speech whenever we're in the locker room, doesn't matter if we're playing like a team where it's like realistically, we should win.
Mhm.
Like he'll get you ready like you're playing a state final, and just he's got a lot of energy despite being little old.
Easy now. He's only 3 years older than me. Anyone else want to talk about Coach?
I mean, he's been a great like role model almost, like being able to show us more than soccer and like what a family's like, because we brought guys in from everywhere and like bringing in everywhere. Well, I'm trying to go somewhere with this, but like when he brings people in from everywhere, it just felt like one big family. He was trying to create and like everyone bonding with each other on the team. We didn't have any like disrespectful moments with anyone, so it felt good to have someone in that like position to help us with that.
Yeah.
Especially at practices, like instead, like usually some teams will do like a bench warmers practice and starters. He like combines us all together, so we are like a family.
He doesn't want anybody to be left out. So
Yeah. And your bench is strong. I mean, when you guys had guys come off the bench, there wasn't a drop in level. At least I didn't notice one.
We do have like a good like for what we played this year, we had like a good group of 14 guys who never dropped a level no matter if they came in the game or out. So it felt good to have someone always coming to relieve you if you needed it.
I thought that was a huge advantage on a hot weekend. Well, actually, typical summer weekend, but this is on a turf field like that to have some kids that can come in. A couple times, Deniss went out and get some water. I remember one time it was like 5 minutes to go in the game. I'm like, well, that's the time when you want to get a goal there. But he, he's able to get a drink of water, get right back into the game. And like, McLean did not take that, opportunity. So, the Hayes brothers, was he a big difference to you guys coming to Cosby?
Well, I talked to him personally before we joined Cosby, but he I don't really know what to say. He's just a really good person, I think.
he's a good
One of the
guy.
best coaches we ever had, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He motivates you. He wants the best for you, and definitely couldn't have asked for a better high school coach.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a little bit the coming into the season. I know you mentioned Landstown, trash talking, physical, but they get set the last 2 years in a row. They put you out in I believe the states 1-0 both years, or was it one of them regionals?
Regional semis both years.
Regional semis both years. Last year you're undefeated. So going into this year, was that game against Landstown, was that like a fluke, or were they really good and you felt like you had to get better to get by Landstown this year?
I think, well, I didn't play last year, but I watched the game. I just think we came out stronger this year because our team Cosby lost to them for the past 2 years, so we really wanted to win.
Yeah. So you were just highly motivated to get over the hump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about coming into this season, trying to get over the Lansdowne hump?
Yeah, I think although we were undefeated last year, we were undefeated again this year. I think our team this year is stronger.
Mhm.
But I think last year we should have beaten them anyways. I mean, we had 3 or 4 like key chances. We had a penalty like in the first 10 minutes of that game against Landstown. And then it kind of just dragged on. They got a late free kick. It wasn't like we got outplayed last year. And then this year we like had to up our game. I think we kind of just came out this year with the right mentality that even if we don't score in the first 10 minutes, we're going to keep going and not let up at all.
Yeah. And do you guys know the Lansdowne kids? Are those kids that you guys familiar with from travel or just from playing them in high school?
Just from playing them in high school, I've met I wouldn't say I've met them, but I've gotten like to know them more and how they play and everything. Like Ryan Walsh, who's a great junior who's going to probably play in college somewhere. Kamar, who's going to UVA and everything. I mean, they have great players on their team, don't get me wrong. But I feel like this year we worked a lot harder to prepare for that game. And that was, we lose to them 2 years in a row. We don't want to lose to them again our senior year. So,
yeah. So before the season, did you guys have to talk to people and say, hey, we're all going out for high school this year. This is it. We're going to do it. Or was it already, given that you guys were playing? So, you got 4 D1 players here and a bunch. I know you got, I think your right back's going to Lynchburg. You got a bunch of people that are top players. Was there ever a doubt where you guys were all going to play high school this year?
No, we were all looking forward for it the whole summer because for at least for my kickers team, me, Nikita, Ryan, and a bunch of other guys from that start for Cosby are in the same team. So we've been talking about it for the whole year till the season started.
Right. So, and I would think you guys have to be patient because, it happens around here as well. Even though there's a lot more teams that are competitive, the games just don't mean anything because you don't really get eliminated. You get eliminated the first round of districts, you get eliminated the first round of region, but there's always another game. So, the Woodson team that got to the state semis in girls, their first 9 games, they lost 8 of them and tied 1. So they were 0-8-1 the first 9 games. The first win was April 27th, and they went on a run and almost got to the state final. They lost 1-0 to Colgan. So the regular season means almost nothing up in Northern Virginia because you always are eligible. There's always another game. Was it hard to keep concentration for you guys? First of all, you guys are like us in that, even if you have a poor season, you're still eligible for postseason. But, the games are pretty easy. You're winning 4, 5, 6. When I saw those scores, I'm like, man, they must not either be playing anyone or they're just amazing. So was it hard to keep your concentration?
I would say
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't think so, to be honest, because I think a lot of the teams, like even like the Manchesters or like Clover Hill, they're teams that we would beat 4 or 5 or whatever, where it would look like they must just be terrible. They really weren't like that bad of teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having the class, like you were saying before, about our class 6 being spread out, there's teams like Meadowbrook and these other schools that are kind of farther away from us, but still in our region or district or whatever for seeding, where they won't play anybody. They'll play teams that are 1As and they'll just win. So they'll only have 1 or 2 losses on their record all season. So if we want to get the 1 seed and have home field advantage and all that stuff, it's we have to win all these games that seemingly are we should win.
Yeah.
I would say,
yeah.
We have to keep our concentration because when we play a team twice a season, it's hard to beat any team twice in one season because they know how you play and everything, and they know what you're doing. So during the middle of the season, I forget what game it was, but it was James River. We had beat them once already, and they came out there. They knew what we were doing. They got another player back and everything, and we only beat them 1-0. But that just shows you have to keep your concentration in every game to make sure you get the win.
Yeah, you had a couple of close games, not just because the goals didn't go your way. It wasn't like you didn't have the run of play, or were those teams, could they have beaten you?
No, I just think we couldn't score. I mean, against James River, we had 4 sitters in the first half, and we just couldn't score. And again, against a bunch of other teams, that it was a close game.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the playoffs now. I believe things were pretty easy for you until you got to Landstown. Is that right? You won the games pretty comfortably, or was there another close game before Landstown?
Deep run.
Deep run.
Deep run. Let's talk about the deep run game because you know those kids. So those players. What was that game like?
I think it was way harder than I thought because they scored on us I think 20 minutes into the first half, and then at least me personally, I thought we still can win, and then I think we just played really hard and then we scored and we won. But it was harder because I knew all those guys and all those guys know us, so they know how we play and they know who to look out for.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Talk about deep run? Yeah.
That game, deep run, it was. I don't think they. I'm pretty sure it was second half, but they scored. They went up 1-0 in the second half, and then that game I think we made it harder than it had to be, just because everyone in Richmond area was there, and it was the game, to see what team's gonna go to states, and they scored, and then the very next play, Ryan got hurt, and we thought he was done for the season, hurt his knee, and it kind of just. Everyone in the stands was just silent. We thought it was going to happen again. We were going to go out in semis, but I think we did really good to keep our energy up. And then Deniss scored, and then we got another one and another one. So it went down. That was our first time trailing, I think, all season.
Yeah,
so we did good to not let it get to us and keep pushing with our depth.
Yeah, I think it's and Deniss mentioned this earlier. It might have been Nikita, but when you're playing teams that you're that you should beat, that you're beating pretty easily, and then you get into a close game, it could be, one of those things where it can kind of paralyze you. You have to really, keep your mental frame of mind going forward. And I felt like Hernan, you definitely got the breaks your way in terms of you got the goals early and kind of put them on the back foot, which was great. But in against McLean, the breaks didn't really go your way. You got the one goal, but I felt like you guys could have got a couple goals and you didn't. And once the game gets close, when you haven't been in that situation a lot, it can kind of work against you. Did you guys feel that way? Like, in the deep run game and then the Landstown game and then the state playoffs, that all those blowouts could come back and kind of bite you, and that things had kind of been a little bit too easy?
100%. I think it was harder. We weren't as prepared for it, but I think it just went our way. So, but it was way harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah, which made it more fun.
Yeah.
The fact that, yeah.
Yeah, not having a blowout game in a state championship or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the way you guys score goals, they kind of come in waves. And the fact that you didn't score, I guess McLean got, some confidence. And then you guys are like a little bit, not doubtful, but when things are going to be hard, teams kind of like settle in. And there was a time right in the first half, we'll get to more of that game later. There was a time in the first half where you guys stopped pressing, and I thought the game was really settling in. I'm like, well, this is interesting tactic. What about you, Evan? Did you feel that the blowouts were going to come back to bite you, or because you play so many close games in club anyway, it's not like that big a deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it made it harder, like mentally, but I think we always trusted that we at the end of the day, I think we thought we were the better team, like no matter who we played against. So we knew that if we just kept up and didn't give up basically and roll over, that we would get our goals and they would come. And I think like the deep run game showed that, and that once we saw, okay, we can be losing and come back and still win 3-1 because we had the talent to do that. It was, even when McLean tied, it was like, all right, now we just got to win in overtime or win in golden goal or whatever. Like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think it back to bite.
Yeah. Well, when you think about the Landstown, that game, now they who had the mental edge going in? You guys, your team was better this year. The Hayes brothers were here, and then you said your team was stronger. I think they may have had an injury coming into that game. I believe one of the players didn't play, but they're probably pretty confident, having put you guys out 2 years in a row. So who do you think had the mental edge going into Lansdowne?
I would honestly say us, even though I didn't play that game. I feel like the locker room was still ready for everything. And I think since they had Kamara out also, he hurt his knee in that game or in the game prior, so he was out also. I think we had the mental edge going in because I knew that past 2 years, I know that it was at our home field again, and I know that we wanted it more than them to win a regional final and have a trophy to show it.
And how did the game go? So what were the sequence of the goals?
It was y'all got that.
It was I can't remember right now because we played so many games after.
It was 2-1, right? You guys won?
Yeah.
Yes.
So did you guys go up 2-0, or did you
No, it was we won. We scored first, and then they scored.
And then Kyle Fowler, one of our players that comes off the bench with like 4 minutes left, off a long throw from. Oh, that was how the first goal scored.
Yeah.
One of our players do a long throw and it went straight through the goalie's hands, but like nicked his fingers and went in the goal. And then they came back and scored one. And then off another long throw, it was bouncing around the box with like 4 minutes left, and Kyle just banged it home.
Yeah, he had a goal like that against Herndon too. It was a throw or a corner kick, and somehow it got in the back of the goal. I have no idea. So was the celebration in that game anywhere comparable to the celebration in the McLean game?
Yeah. I think that beating Landstown for me, I looked over at the end of the game. My dad like stormed the field, picked me up. It was awesome.
Yeah, I remember when my son. We won the semis of state cup. I ran on the field and hugged him, and I mean, he still teases me about that. I said, what were you thinking? And everyone was doing it. It wasn't just me. But yeah, the things that we do to embarrass our kids. So let's get to the Herndon game. What did you guys know about Herndon coming in?
We knew that they beat McLean two times or three times. So
We knew they were going to be a strong team, so we had to prepare ourselves for the game.
Yeah. I knew a lot of pretty much the whole Herndon team from playing them in strikers. We played them twice this year, and they went to overtime both times. And so I knew it was going to be a physical game, and that they had some talkers of their own and some guys foul. And I think the goal that we scored off the throw in or a free kick, I think, was off of when Javi got down the corner or it went out of bounds or something. So I knew that I told him about this kid Enzo they had, that he likes to like truck people down the corner basically, and Javi kind of brake checked him, and I think we got the goal off of that. It was down
a throw in, right?
Yeah, and then Ryan threw it in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Their team, they're really talented. You know, Atu didn't play. He's the UVA commit. He didn't play until the postseason. He had knee surgery. To his credit, you know, most people in this situation probably would not have played high school, but he was loyal to his teammates, came out and played, and they weren't able to keep possession that well enough to get him into the game in a lot of games. But he's very good on the counterattack. He's a magical player. Last year he was so dominant. And then unfortunately, you know, Lewis probably had our best team up here this year. I mean, they were stacked. They had like 17, 18 quality players that were fast like you guys. They were technical. They were very well coached. And Herndon played against them in the state quarters, and they took a horrible tackle, broke the leg of Herndon's top midfielder, Lucho Fuentes, a tremendous player. He was out. It was really sad play. I love this kid. But he was their 10, and he engineered a lot of their goals. And when they took him out, they came back and won without him. It was unbelievable how they banded together, and they won that game. It was a very emotional game. They won the game. And, you know, and so they can play without Lucho. And he missed several games during the year. But, you know, I think when you guys scored early and without him, it probably took a little bit of their confidence away. I felt like you guys were on the front foot. They had a good second half. They hit the post one time, and they could have gotten a little bit back into the game. But I just felt like, you know, you guys hit them early, and that was not what they needed in that game.
I think our first 10 minutes were really good. We pressed them hard, and I could hear the center backs chirping to each other and talking trash. So that I knew it was our game because they were mad at each other. Because me and Javi and who was up top, Jesus, we were just pressing them because well, some of our guys watched their game and they said their two center backs are not that good. So
Yeah.
They were getting definitely nervous.
Yeah.
We could tell.
Yeah, they had a very hard time keeping the ball against you guys. They could not keep possession, so they couldn't get Atu in the game. And he needs to have the ball because he can make a lot happen if he has the ball. But when he had the ball, you guys had him. I mean, Evan was on him, and he had guys around him, so it was hard for him to really play. And seemed like he was touching the ball in the back half. He wasn't even in the striking position most of the time. So I think, you know, with that, it's going to be long throws or set pieces for them to score against you guys. Otherwise, they're not going to score. So, but anyway, I thought you guys played a lot of players that day to your advantage. And then McLean, they were going up against Garfield, and that was really an awesome game. I don't know if you guys got to see any of that game. Our Garfield's, like you guys, very quick team, very technical team. And, you know, McLean was able to, you know, just like they do, edge out a victory. Their center back, Dante Tassado, who won a state championship with Langley 2 years ago. He's just a warrior. He's an amazing player. Guy made second team all district. To me, he was the best. He was the top player in the area this year. But he wills them to win. He's such a great leader. And they have a lot of other great players, obviously, as well. But what did you guys think about McLean going in? What did you guys think you had to do?
Well, from what Enzo told us on Herndon, he told us that we need to watch out for Joe because if he gets any space and he scores. So he wanted to make sure that he didn't get the ball with much space or anything. and that we knew that on corners that I would be marking Dante, the big center back. So I was worried for every corner. I was like, just please don't give him long throw corner, because I mean he's a whole foot taller than me. So, but you just got to go up with them and make sure they don't win the ball. It's either they don't win the ball or no one wins the ball. So,
Yeah, I think Dante probably scored 6 or 7 goals from set pieces just in postseason. I mean,
jeez.
yeah, I mean he was unbelievable. And then he was the one that guarded all too, marked him. You know, Dante's fast, but he's a tough guy to guard man to man. He did a great job with him. What about what were you guys thinking about McLean?
Yeah, Enzo had DM'd me before, after we played Herndon. He DM'd me on the Instagram after the game, and he just gave me like a whole scouting report. He's like, please beat them. And I mean, I think that definitely helped. And we knew that Herndon had beaten them before, like two times or whatever. So I think we had confidence going in, but we also knew it's a state final. So, I mean, they're going to play their best game, and we had to do that too.
It's a very interesting matchup because, as you guys mentioned earlier, they're big, muscular. They're a typical Northern Virginia team. But they also have Joe, and they have Luke Hamill. He's going to be a tremendous midfielder. He's only a sophomore. And then Ada, who's great at drawing fouls, as you guys probably noticed. So they have a good combination of both. So they can be difficult, and they're very good in set pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, the first half. I think the first half was it scoreless, or did you guys did score in the first half, didn't you?
We scored the first.
Yeah, Evan scored that goal. It was a beautiful. It's kind of like a set piece, and the ball went out to the side, and then was recrossed in, and Evan got a header. I believe that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So that must have given you guys some confidence getting that goal, getting the lead before halftime.
Yeah.
It was nice to get a lead before halftime. So going into halftime that we have a lead, but anytime having a 1-0 lead is not a good feeling, because they score one and then the momentum shifts. So it's all a mindset that you have to like create, knowing that if they do score, you still can't like give up and let them take the momentum of the game.
Yeah. When they did score, what was your frame of mind? Were you guys like, this is going to be a dogfight, or did you guys like the deep run game? Oh, we got time to get a few goals.
We definitely, I would say,
we definitely dropped it down a little.
We dropped down. I think we were tired a little bit, but no matter what, it's a state finals game. It's our last high school game ever. We knew that we had to create some chances on some sort, and we did create chances. We just didn't finish them. So,
yeah, I definitely thought you had to run a play. I thought McLean played a really good game, and they're an amazing team. But I definitely thought you guys had to run a play. But the pressure was really mounting, especially when it went to overtime. I was really surprised, and they had won two games. They won one elimination game on penalties against a very good Westfield team, and then they'd beaten. They won another game. Was it overtime as well? They had a golden goal against Herndon in the regional final. That was huge. That wasn't an elimination game, but anyway. So as we're moving towards overtime, so were you guys getting some butterflies? Like this game is a 50-50 here.
Yeah, it was scary, I would say. I do not want to go into penalties because it just not. I don't think
anybody's gonna win.
Yeah.
The first two overtimes, I would say, don't stress me out like that much, because even if someone scores, you still have a chance. But as soon as I knew that we were going into like golden goal overtime, I was like, yeah, all right, this gets real right now, because if we get scored on, we're out. But if we score, we're having the best time of our life in that celebration. So
you guys almost ran me over. I was in my camera. It was pretty crazy. All right, before we get to that though, was there any big? I don't remember any really great chances in the overtimes. Did you guys remember any really?
I think we had one, and it was right before he blew the whistle. I can't remember what happened, but I think it was a cross, and then someone just missed a shot. But
yeah. Well, let's talk about the goal. My recollection was, and it was right in front of me. Deniss got the ball right in front of me, and I thought you were fouled before you started making the move to the goal. And then right before you shot the ball, Titus grabbed your jersey and the official called foul. And it was a direct kick. And, you know, I don't know what happened, but I guess McLean feels like the shot, the goal, the direct kick was taken quickly and they didn't have a chance to get the walls set up. But what did you see, Deniss?
So basically, after we got the foul, Evan comes up to me. He says to go bottom right corner because the keeper put the wall kind of wrong. So I was waiting for the whistle because they were talking in the wall and like messing around with it. So as soon as he blew the whistle, I shot it and I just knew that was gonna go in because the wall wasn't straight. So
if it was a regular wall, you wouldn't have shot that miss.
I mean, I tried looking at it because the Dante kid, he kind of jumped towards the left. I mean, in a video, you can kind of see the ball like curved around it, but like it would have been like a 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, you knew that the wall, you reacted quickly because you knew that the wall was not set up properly. And I believe the goalie was at the near post.
He was trying to set it up.
Right.
Or he might have I think he was just lined up behind the wall for some reason. I don't really know.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like on his foot setting it up. He was kind of behind the wall, and the kid Dante, it was really weird. It was like he was on one side of the wall, and then he jumped to like the other side, and then when Deniss went to take it, he jumped in front of the wall to try and I guess think it's going over and block it. I think it was just a lot of nerves. I don't think the keeper could see it because, I mean, not just Dante, but he was moving around a lot. So I don't think the keeper ever got a good look at even where the ball was.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bottom corner was wide open. And Ryan had almost scored kind of keeper side early in that game and hit the post. So I told Deniss, I was like, if you just smash it, it's going to go in. And then, yeah.
Did it seem to you that it was done quickly? I mean, in retrospect, when I saw the replay, that was my first impression. But then I also saw the McLean players everyone was tired and everyone was just kind of loitering around. And I felt, when I watched the replay, I felt like everything was cool. But when I first thought about it, I'm like, well, maybe they did take it kind of quickly. Did it occur to you guys that you guys took it quickly?
Yeah, I mean, it used to me because I took it, but I don't know about the other guys.
I didn't think it was that quick because originally it was, and then I gave it away to Deniss. It wasn't like it was like we put the ball down and shot it. We talked about it for a good minute. They just kind of took forever to set their wall up.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a feeling they'll be thinking about that wall for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
We talked about what the championship meant to you guys. I remember feeling, when you win by golden goal, it takes a second to sink in that the game's over because it's not a normal thing that you play in soccer. So just describe that moment when you were just celebrating when you realized it was over and you were just enjoying all your teammates in the corner over there.
I think after I scored and then after the crowd settled down and we're walking to get our medals, that's when it kind of hit because you're realize you just won. And I realized I just scored and won state championship for Cosby. So, I mean, it did bring a little tear to my eye, but yeah, it was just an amazing moment.
It honestly probably didn't hit me until we were probably almost back to Cosby on the bus ride because going to the celebration and then getting the trophy, I mean, you just don't take it in that you've won the game. You're just trying to celebrate and have fun with your team. So until I got back to Cosby, I got back in my car and I was like, yeah, I have this medal. I have won a state championship. It felt amazing.
Yeah. My sister's won too. I've seen it done, but I have no idea what it feels like. I mean, I can only imagine how great it must feel to win a state championship. But I just we had to leave, and I remember I just wanted to sit there because I love the moments after the state championship, and you don't like seeing kids sad. And I love these McLean kids. I've known them for a long time, but the moments when you see the dichotomy, the sadness or the joy, the happy tears. It was really quite a moment. It was an amazing game. You guys are deserving state championship. You guys are a great team. My son said, and he was a midfield position at Yorktown. He had to guard Andres in that game. He said you guys are one of the smartest high school teams he sees. He says the thing about this team is they move so well off the ball. He says a lot of times in high school, people don't know what to do when they don't have the ball, and people just kind of stand around or just make kind of silly runs to nowhere. He says he's never seen a high school team play so smart when they don't have the ball. That was his comment. So definitely worth it. Well, let's talk a little bit about, why you chose, and I got to wrap up here, but I want to talk about why you chose the school that you chose. And the three of you guys are going to be together at VCU, and Evan's going to be at Mount St. Mary's, which is only about, 40 miles from where I am right now. Beautiful, beautiful area. I'm playing with Christian and other great local players. But why'd you choose the school you chose, and what are some of your goals in college? Why don't we start with Evan, since he's going to the Mount St. Mary's?
Yeah, so I think my decision's going to be kind of similar to them in that it was Coach Teach, who was the former assistant at VCU and was their coach for kickers. Once he got the Mount St. Mary's job, the twins and Ryan had already committed to VCU. So he reached out to me, and I mean, once he reached out, and it was D1, and he's a great coach, and he's put on many players on a pro from VCU. It wasn't really that hard of a decision.
It's a beautiful place. And do you think you're going to play the sixth there, or what position do you see you playing in high school? In college.
Yeah, he's talked to me about playing as more of a box-to-box 8.
Oh, good.
Is similar to what I played this year. It looked more like a 6 because Ryan would go high and then I would kind of drop in with Ben. But I mean, 6, 8, 10. I played 10 for club. It's kind of just anywhere in those three.
You just want to be on that pitch.
Hell yeah.
You can put you in fullback position.
Yep.
How about you? How about you, Nikita? Now you're going to VCU, and I guess one of the main things is you wanted to play with your brother, I'd imagine.
Yes, sir. Well, at first, me and my brother were not gonna go to college. We were just gonna go back to Europe and play there, and then see how far we can get. But then Teach, he asked us. He was like, "So what are y'all doing for college?" We told him we're not gonna go to college, and then after the practice, he said, "I would love y'all to play for VCU," and then we were like, "Really?" And then he said, "Yeah." He said, "We can talk about it later." And then we talked about it as a family, and then we decided that we should play college.
Yeah. What country were you going to go play if you didn't go to VCU?
We would go to either Spain or we would go back to Latvia and try to play for the national team.
Oh, you guys are Latvian?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah. And is that something is that doable? What's
It is.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, we still want to go back there and play there, either like our junior year. Well, you never know. It's kind of hard because it's far and it gets kind of expensive.
Yeah. I just hope the war doesn't break out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem.
If then we're getting drafted.
Yeah. How about you, Deniss? Did you have similar goals? Similar thought process?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wanted to go to college just because, like, for the fun of it too. And I think VCU wasn't my first pick if I was gonna go to college, but since Coach Teach is such a great coach, and he brought so much confidence into me, because in U14, U15, I didn't really play much. And then he started coaching us, and he started playing me more, and I just got my confidence and my level up. And I think he just helped me a lot and make my decision for college.
Yeah, that's great. And you guys okay with being in Richmond still, or do you miss the idea of not going further away for school?
I mean, I like it because my family's right here. It's like 40 minutes from VCU. So, but
the only thing that really upset us was definitely when the Coach Teach was leaving, because we knew now that we have to prove our skills to the other coaches. Unless like Teach, he knows what we can do and what we are capable of.
Yeah. Well, it's not very hard to see you guys' skills. I'm sure the new coach will love to have you and treat you well.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all, these coaches, soccer, there's more longevity than some sports. Some sports coaches leave every other year, it seems like. But it's a business. They'll move on, but you guys will do great wherever you are. How about you, Ryan? So I'm sure you had a lot of options. Double player of the year, even though that came after your commitment. But what was your thought?
Yeah, I was talking with a few colleges, but then once Teach got in the conversation with me and realizing what like VCU could do for me and what's all in store for me, then I took my overnight, and the group of guys I stayed with, Andres Rodriguez and everything, and the whole team is just so like great that it's such a good group of guys you want to be around all the time that push you to get better and everything. So with all those going in and like factoring my decision, I just wanted to get a VCU.
Yeah. Yeah, just make sure you tell Andres I said hello. BCU is a really cool part of Richmond, and so and it's probably very different than where you guys are. I'm not sure exactly where Cosby's
Yeah.
located, but I think you'll get a great college experience. And then when you're playing soccer, you really don't have time for a lot because I mean you got to hit the ground running. I mean, you get there in August, everyone else is still trying to figure out where the English class is, and you guys are already been on the road, and so it's gonna be crazy.
Traveling.
Well, yeah. Well, look, guys, this has been great. I really enjoyed watching you play. Great to get to know you. I can't wait to see you guys play in college. You know, one thing about the way the internet works now, I mean, almost every game is televised now. So I will be checking you guys out and keeping up with you. But look, I just want to congratulate you guys again for being state champs. It was amazing how you guys did it. You beat our arch rival McLean, which I love those guys, but they are our arch rival. And then you beat Herndon, another one of Yorktown's rivals. So you guys put down two great programs in Northern Virginia. So it was actually, and then you beat Landstown, who was a bogey team for you guys. So very well done, guys. So I just want to thank you again for doing this, and hopefully we can keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh yeah, it was great, guys. Take care now.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.